Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and the Q2 figures are out for Tesla sales. They are no better than the start of the year, really, compared to last year. When I first talked about Tesla sales being down, especially around Europe a few months ago, people would say, oh, Phil, they're just waiting for the Model Y. Well, the Model Y has been launched, and guess what? Those sales are still going down. More than that, Musk has openly said the news isn't going to get any better anytime soon for his flagship brand. After all, it's not just his political activities putting off core customers. In North America, Trump's anti-car tariffs are hitting the company as well. Elon Musk paid tens of billions of dollars to buy Twitter, just to turn it into a Trump campaign machine. And that decision is screwing over his most important brand. And people still think Musk is a genius, do they? But first, for daily news and commentary, please click the subscribe button and stay notified. So Elon Musk seems to be putting a lot of effort into winning the Small Fortune Award. As in, how do you make a small fortune? Well, you start off with a large one. A few years ago, he had a growing commercial empire. His skill at hyping up his various businesses, highly effective at persuading investors that he was going to be leading the next generation of the sorts of new technology we've been promised since the Jetsons in the 1960s. Then he sulks about someone rescuing some kids in Thailand instead of him, and it all goes downhill. He buys Twitter in order to turn it into an absolute cesspit of hate and vitriol, designed to amplify far-right talking points and suppress counter-arguments. I think he left the cat videos alone as being politically ambiguous. After pleading with the government of the time to stop prosecuting Trump because it would make him desperate to return to power, it would appear that he saw the way the wind was blowing and decided that if Trump was going to even run a serious risk of becoming president again, he'd rather be inside the fortress looking out than outside huddled in a cave. So he swung behind Trump, bending his influence and wealth towards his cause. Musk may well have done this as an insurance policy. If Trump lost, well, the Democratic government wouldn't actually persecute him for backing Trump. But if he didn't back Trump and Trump won, Trump's the persecuting kind, and Musk might be in the firing line. So he may have seen it as a sort of win-win, only he threw so much into Twitter and devalued it so much that if Trump had lost, he'd have actually been in real financial difficulty. Which is a mad thing to say for the richest person in the world, but it's a sign of just how massive wealth is really just largely an illusion. So then Musk became as desperate to win as Trump. He absolutely had to win. The irony is, I'm not sure Trump would have won if it weren't for Musk's political shenanigans, should we say, over the past few years. But that's academic now. The fact is, Trump did win. He won with a lot of help from Musk. Whether it was crucial help or not is another matter, but it was certainly a lot of help from Musk. And now Musk's signature brand Tesla is struggling. First, it struggled purely because of Musk's own behaviour. His behaviour in supporting Nazi ideology and a Nazi offshoot party in Germany caused a huge reaction in Europe. Germany, of course, most of all. In North America, the toxicity of the brand increased largely because of his direct association with Doge and Trump's trade policies. When I talked about it, people would insist that it's just a lull as people waited for the new Model Y. But I had to point out, the sales weren't just down on the same period the previous year. They were, but they were also down on Tesla's own expectations. Now, Tesla are not amateurs. The fact that they've named a car after a pair of underpants makes me question that, but generally speaking, they're not amateurs. They have analysts. Those analysts understand how sales are affected by new products coming out, right? The sales were down on their own expectations. And again, Tesla's own expectations tell us that this is more than a pre-release lull. Musk is saying that there will be rough quarters ahead, which did not help Tesla's share price. Not only has his own political behaviour put off a lot of core Tesla customers, absolutely maddening, isn't it? He's taken a political line that is against his core customers and towards another group of people who are not going to be Tesla customers. MAGA are not pro-EV. And this has been made all the worse by the emergence of viable alternatives from other companies as well. But Trump's own policies are causing problems for the company which have nothing to do with customer perceptions. Now that we have data on the first half of 2025, Tesla sales in Europe are down by a third. Now, even now that the Model Y has been released, which should have provided a boost to sales, and it will provide some sort of pushback to an extent, but the sales are still down net, down 7% in June alone. The Q2 sales are up on Q1, of course, but they're down on last year's Q2 when there was no new major product launch. They're down in the UK as well after we appear to be bucking the trend. But that appears to have been, as some of you suggested, down to the timings of registrations. Although I will say sales remain only slightly down in the UK. We're still a bit rubbish on that. Suggesting customers in Britain aren't really linking the brand too strongly with Musk, because Musk is unpopular in Britain as well. But the European figures in general are very interesting because Trump's policies don't have a huge effect on them. See, cutting incentives for EVs and the 25% import tariffs on like car parts and steel and aluminium, that will of course make Teslas less competitively priced in the USA. It's going to be tough to separate the effect on sales of Musk's association with the brand and the operational problems with Trump. But Teslas bought in Europe tend to be made in Europe, and yet sales are still down and continue to fall even in the latest month's data. And Tesla's problems are not just related to falling car sales. In America, they also sell carbon credits. But now that Trump has said there'll be no fines for non-compliance, so emissions trading will not be as valuable from this September when Trump's new rules are implemented. I saw one suggesting in a report that Musk would focus on his driverless taxis for future revenues. Perhaps he thinks there's only so much he can do against the forces which have caused the poor sales this year. The horse has already bolted. But this is also a standard part of the Musk playbook, isn't it? Keeping investors focused on new, exciting technology. The next big advancement's just around the corner. It's how he boosted the values of his companies in the first place. And if the driverless taxis are slow to catch on, or they keep burning their occupants alive, then he will presumably just switch to the next big thing. Safe in the knowledge that investors dare not be on the ground floor with the guy who's going to mould the future into all those sci-fi comics they read as a kid. But Tesla is still likely to struggle for some time to come. It is a company developing technology based on a future which Trump is rolling back. Everything is now more expensive to produce in America due to the tariffs on car parts and materials alone. The regulatory framework is becoming more hostile to clean energy solutions. Tesla is going to have to swim upstream if it wants to operate alongside a Trump presidency. That would have been the case even if Musk had not pissed off both his core customers and Trump himself. Musk may be many things, and the label of genius is not necessarily out of place when regarding his marketing prowess, but politically and strategically, he is an absolute moron. Now, whether it was ever thus or the drugs have just rotted his brain, I cannot say. But has such an already wealthy person ever put so much money and time and effort into creating an environment that you'd almost think is designed to act against their own business interests before? I don't think so. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.